Good morning, people. It is the 2nd of May. Oh no, a policeman coming. No, that's actually what the heck? People learning to drive at this time in the morning? It's like, I don't know, a little after 6 this morning. And I'm showing you this place right here. This is oh God. Well, I gotta stop here a little bit longer than I actually wanted to. Upstairs, there's it's kind of like a building center. You can get a lot of things for building. And we've got things when we're still renovating our apartment, but it's called Leningrad. So this is sort of outside the center of Minsk, and you get things like, I don't know if there's not windows, but it's well, we got what was it, handles and things for cabinets in here. It's a very, very good place, one of the best places in Minsk for that sort of a deal. You get a large selection of different handles, and there's lamps in there, and what else? Bathroom fixtures. Matter of fact, we got our bathroom fixtures there as well. Believe it or not, from Estonia. So much for the sanctions, but anyhow, I came to this place mostly because I might be making another video today, and if I do this in my area, there's something, and I very strongly believe, that it has to do with the area that I'm at in Minsk, and maybe the internet is incredibly slow, as you know. The other day it took 12 hours to upload a 1-hour video, and yesterday it took a long time as well. Not quite that long. Normally if I'm doing the entire video over there, it's like a 3 or 4 hour time period to do it. If I go into the center of the city, and for example, if I do a 45-minute video, maybe an hour video, I can upload it in 20 minutes. So this is a little bit closer to the center. I think maybe the closer I get, the faster the videos upload. I don't know if this has that much to do with YouTube or not. And as you know, I'm out here early in the morning. I like doing videos in the morning. Things are a lot more quiet, and things are far more beautiful. The warm light. I love photography, so I don't know if I want to walk through that grass. It's a lot of frost. I took a photo or two. I'll probably upload it and put it on this video. It's kind of tricky. I think it's called CapCut, and you get some free uploads or whatever. They do it at 1080p instead of like 2K, and I would rather put it at 2K. 4K, obviously that would take many hours to do it, and I don't want to do that. Makes you really wonder, people that do this, they get these sticks as if that's going to put you in shape a lot better by having like ski sticks. Oh, this is going to help me get in better shape rather than just walking. It's just something to sell you some friggin' sticks or whatever. I don't see the purpose in that. I don't want to call people stupid. I don't like to do that, but I don't know, susceptible to thinking that having a couple sticks when you go out for a walk is going to get you into better shape or whatever. It's not even going to help you if you do cross-country skiing. It's just some friggin' sticks, I don't know. I don't know. That's my opinion. So, anyway, what is the big news? The big news, I guess, there's actually a couple pieces, and I guess it depends on your perspective, what you consider big news. Obviously, big news geopolitically is that Trump has now imposed these sanctions from hell on Iran. And of course, in his term, he did that to Venezuela as well, and it caused a lot of hardship in Venezuela. And of course, what it actually does, it punishes the people. It's not like he got rid of Maduro in Venezuela, and he's not going to unseat the government of Iran either. But in the case of Iran, as we all know, this is subservience to Israel. The United States, sadly enough, and it looks like maybe very much in particular, Donald Trump, they are very subservient to Israel. Israel, of course, is the major power, is the major global power as far as influence is concerned. Let me get down by the river here. I can actually go where I maybe want to go. There's actually, I got off on a metro stop over here. It is the Proletarskia, and I believe the next one is the Pershamyskia, which I call the the Matrix metro, the only metro stop in all of Minsk that you exit from the train on the right-hand side than the left-hand side. And but anyway, they're not too far apart where you can walk. Look, you see the frost on the grass? Look at the long shadows. It's beautiful in the morning. So, and as far as weather is concerned, it looks like, I believe that was in the Moscow region, that they had snow yesterday. So, but it's not super cold here. So as you see, I don't have a coat, I have a sweater. I had to put a sweater on. Looked outside and I saw frost on the automobiles. So I thought I would do that. So anyway, these sanctions. As you know, Trump says, and I guess apparently, at least to us lay people, I don't know, he says that Iran is helping the Houthis. And the Houthis, of course, are highly moralistic people. It's based completely on morals. They do not like seeing what Iran is, or what Israel is doing to the people in Palestine. And of course, it's genocide. There's no doubt about that, and so many people even realize that. You know, France has even acknowledged it, the government, a lot of governments in Europe, and they really want to kill those people. They want them out of there, and they want to take over the land. Donald Trump, very much unfortunately, wants to help him. You know, I want to stop the killing, you know, but I don't know. I feel so strange always talking about Donald Trump, you know, talking about the positive things and the negative things. It's like he speaks out of two different sides of his mouth. One day he talks like this: I want to stop the killing in Ukraine. And then like this, I want to see all the kill. He doesn't even say it, but he very much is in favor of killing all these people to help Israel. He doesn't care about how many people get massacred. And I talked about just the other day, obviously it's probably not mentioned in the United States that he did a major massacre of African migrants inside. He had a pinpoint bomb, you know, dropped right on top of these African migrants in Yemen. You know, very, very bad killing. And you know, of course, there's no mention of that. You know, and I really don't know about Trump's. Look at that plant. That'd be a nice photograph. When I got this video going right now. Look at that's even nice over there. Oh, I could do some nice photos. But anyway, he's apparently very, very much in favor. I mean, because I guess it helps Israel. And his daughter is Jewish, converted to Judaism, and he doesn't realize that there's different forms of Judaism, just like there are different forms of Christians. And these are Zionist Jews, and I don't think that they technically really even follow all of the tenets of Judaism, and a lot of Jewish people, they talk about that, and I think a lot of them in their hearts they actually really hate this ideology of Zionism. And Iran has made statements about that as well. And it's not like, I'll tell you what, the second largest population. What does this bird have? A fish or something in it? Oh, look like they're going fishing. The second largest amount of Jews on earth, if not, I don't know if it's even true that it's the largest amount of Jews are located in Iran, not in Israel. I'm not too sure about that. I think it's maybe the second. And Israel, of course, hates that. There's a lot of things, like I'm mentioning that the European Union people in the UK, they really hate the 9th of May. It's I'll tell you what, to them it's satanic for them, when it's exactly the opposite. It shows how satanic they are and how Nazi they are. They are very much in support of Nazism. These are real Nazis now. It's incredible. They don't even realize that they're actually practicing Nazism. Their hatred, their pure hatred of the Russian peoples. And it is the Russian people. It's not the Russian government. Even if they would, you know, lie as if they say, oh no, it's not against the Russian peoples. You know, Zelensky, at least he's honest. He comes right out and says he hates the Russian peoples. There's a lot of people that say they hate the Russians and they want to exterminate Russians. You know, I mean, talk about global Nazism, and Russia's been talking about that lately in the past few days. I emphasized that already in 2 videos, and I'm saying it again here. It's just really shocking. And there's people, a lot of people even in Ukraine, like I said yesterday. I don't know how many, but nobody's taken count. But they want these terrorist bombings. They want to see a lot of people killed on the May 9th parade in Red Square. And there's people in the Rada, in the government, they're calling for terrorist attacks. They're calling. I mean, it's like really, really weird. And, I think Trump is now, this is weird. I can talk good things about Trump or bad things. There's these people, I think during the Biden administration, where were they? I don't know if they were part of the FBI, but they took the knee. Supposedly, I guess, they had this Black Lives Matter thing, and of course it worked out to be that the Black Lives Matter protests and this movement was responsible for killing more black people than if they didn't have it in the first place. And I think, they had these mostly peaceful protests that killed far more people. And they're actually, what happened? How many people died on this January 6th thing that they were people protesting about the election? One person, and they were killed by a police officer. It was a United States veteran. These were unarmed people, peaceful, which were peaceful protests. And of course, you have even AOC coming out, and they're trying to create a different. It's it's weird doing these videos because they come up with this fake stuff. AOC is coming out, and people are now saying she's going to lead the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders is, and like Trump is actually right. Bernie Sanders is just a crazy old fool, and he's like putty. He will bend to whatever whims whoever is in charge of the Democrats, want. And maybe by now Tulsi Gabbard realizes that she was supporting Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton back in those days. And anyway, now she's dumped, of course, the Democratic Party. It's not like she's wishy-washy. I think Tulsi Gabbard, it takes some courage actually to do the things that she is doing. And you can do a lot of videos about her alone. Look at this beautiful warm light. Incredible. It might come out this way. When I upload this video, you'll see this beauty. It's incredible. Oh. It's coming into the most beautiful time in Belarus, where the temperatures are not really hot yet, and the trees are green, and especially you come out in the mornings and you see this peaceful, a few people running around, somebody jogging over there with their dog. Anyway, but I just distracted myself again. And what was I talking about? I don't even know. Well, it's mostly about this Nazism and the stuff that's taken over the world right now, and Russia. And a lot of people from the West, Germany and the United States, are moving to Russia. And a lot of them, they don't really know so much about Belarus. So it's kind of like the best kept secret to come over here. There are a lot of things here that are better than in Russia. But they're both on the same team. You make more money if you want to work in Russia. I guess it's quite a bit more. And Lukashenko's trying to change things to where people get more money, but when you get more money, it changes a lot of things. And prices go up, which is a negative aspect of that. So things got to be done in particular ways. Oh, look, there's the guy with the sticks again, walking over there. If you guys can see that, probably too much of a distance. And there was just a bird that came down, it dived down and got a little fish or something like that. Maybe I can catch something like that on film again here. But no, it's in line with the raising of prices. Of course, the metro cost, I guess maybe it was just a day or two ago. I'm not exactly sure, because my last monthly metro pass I bought about a month ago, and right now, it went up quite a bit. I used to pay, it was 51 rubles, and now it's 57 rubles. And that's getting, what is that, like getting close to 20 US dollars. You guys will be laughing about that, but I'm living on this economy here. I still have savings, but it's like I adjusted myself. and as long as you don't need to buy big screen TVs and things like that, that are kind of coming from the West. A lot of time it's very strange, and I think things are going to be changing, and they have already changed a lot, where it's like when I lived in the Caribbean, it's sort of like, say if you bought Brazilian coffee. I was in the coffee business. I used to blend coffee. So I bought Brazilian coffee, and Brazilian coffee, guess what? Even though I'm very, very close to Brazil on the island that I lived on, it had to go all the way to the United States, to New Jersey, by the way, and then come back again. And so, of course, people are taking these big profits all the way instead of coming directly from Brazil. And right now, with all these tariffs and things like that, if I were still working over there, I mean, not working, but if I still had my business over there and then, using coffee to blend, it's far too expensive to actually rely totally on growing coffee in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because the farm labor costs are more than triple in a developing country there than it is to be farming in America. So I think I was looking at the cost, and if you are growing coffee in Africa, I believe the price that you pay for per labor per person per day over there is like around $2 a day, averaging maybe. And in the United States, they pay Mexicans, and I don't really know what it is right now, maybe $4 a day. But in that Caribbean island, I had to pay in US dollars, $18 a day for the labor. And so it's a far more expensive. And I'm talking like in the United States with these labor costs, it's like a lot of these Mexicans things that come up, and they have like 2 or 3 families maybe living in one apartment. So you get like one room, maybe the living room, it's like 2 families. I've seen it with my own eyes, but this was back in the older days. Talking about like in the 1990s when I saw this, and migrant laborers, and they can even send money back to Mexico. But this was not inside of a city. This was agricultural workers in Washington State, not that far away from what was that plant where they made the nuclear bomb they dropped on Hiroshima, but maybe a 45-minute drive from that area. Like I saw Mexican families myself. Anyway, tangents again. Glad some people say they like the tangents. It's just some different facts. A lot of times you don't hear this stuff anywhere. A lot of people have a lot of information that you can put out, and speaking what you've seen with your own eyes, it's all interesting. And a lot of this stuff that I'm mostly trying to talk about is like the truth, and putting out things as they are. Okay, let's keep walking here. Okay, the sanctions from hell, and I don't think it's going to work. Long tangent, I guess I got off on. I don't think it's going to work so much with Iran. Iran has a very good partnership with Russia, and they have a sort of a partnership also with China. They have kind of a partnership with Turkey as well. But Donald Trump is saying that anybody getting any kind of petroleum product from Iran, very small, any person, any country, they will immediately be a pariah of the United States, and they will not be allowed to do any business whatsoever with the United States. So this is kind of a, I don't know. It's Donald Trump has this diplomacy, and his name for this, actually these tariffs and all this sort of thing, he said it himself. It's the kiss my ass. He's having kiss my ass tariffs. So came right out and said it, that he demands that the whole world gets down on their knees and kisses his ass. So, and China has come out and said something. I'll talk about that. I'm getting ahead of myself as usual all the time. So a little bit more about this. Anyway, I was going to start this off about the second kind of large piece of news. I guess depends on what's important to you, what your perspective is. A lot of you may not be as interested, but it's really big news over here, and it is about Chebo. And I wish I would have had contact with him. I had established contact. It was actually Gonzalo Lira. He had contacted me, and I was like, wow, this is cool. This guy's pretty well known. And we were starting a contact, and then he was taken. That was the first time he was taken by the SBU in Ukraine, and they got his phone, his computer. They raided his place. There was even photos put out about that? I don't know. I guess Ukraine put it out. You know, his hair was messed up and everything because they maybe got him out of bed. I don't know. And at that time, I started getting things from him. Well, I thought it was from him, but it was actually the people that had his phone, and they were, you know, like trying to have me send some money for, like, I don't know if it was crypto or invest in this sort of thing. And I was thinking, oh, this is, you know, so I actually, at that time, I stopped complete contact with Gonzalo Lira, and I was not knowing at that time, because he was in detention, and I was thinking it's not Gonzalo Lira, it's some fake guy or something like that using, and I was getting things. Of course, they do that a lot. They were doing that with John Mark Dougan. You know, that getting these things and somebody claiming to be John Mark Dougan, and, you know, they always want you to invest in crypto, things like that. So it's a bunch of fake stuff. Oh, I can't get that bird. It's some bird. He looks like he, sun is right there. Went too far. Anyway, like I said, I'm trying to get some birds when they're diving for the little minnows or something, the fish. There's one coming, swooping in. He's looking, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's probably too small. But anyway, Chebo, you know, they detained him. I guess he left from Dublin. He went to Romania. He was going there to report on this election. And as you know, the Romania is a really big puppet of the EU. They will do everything that Brussels tells them to do. And of course, they locked up first, for a very long period of time, Andrew Tate, who was, you know, considered the most popular person on the internet at that time. And, you know, they locked him up and his brother, and they had these charges of sex trafficking and all that sort of thing. And they had to release him, but of course they took him out of service for quite a long time, and then they let him out for a little while. They locked him up again and all that. And Chebo, he's a correspondent for RT, and he's an EU citizen. I don't know, I guess Andrew Tate was, I think he had probably a passport from the US and from Britain at that time. So maybe that was a little bit different there, so they locked him up for quite some time. And but Chebo, they got onto the plane, and a lot of people are talking about how they did this. And it's, you know, they stopped the plane. Nobody was allowed to get off the plane. They had 3 people come, and they had some sort of, I don't know, I guess it was a confession or something. He's not even sure what it was that they had him sign. They wouldn't give him a copy. They wouldn't let him photograph it. So he didn't know really what he signed. They made him sign this, and they kicked him out of the country, of course. And Chebo is one of the people I really like. You know, I only had some contact maybe with, like I said, a couple people. One of them was Gonzalo Lira, and a little bit with Mike Jones. Not really so much at all. And these are people I liked. Mike Jones helped me quite a bit. And you know, like I said, Mike Rivero, I mentioned him yesterday, and that was you know, for the years I was, you know, and I mentioned him as kind of like my mentor. So Mike Rivero, and of course, a lot of people don't know so much about Mike Rivero. He's a guest on a lot of shows and things like that. So, and he has some videos on YouTube, I guess. He's the one that came up with All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. That's quite famous. And he talks really fast in there. And it talks a lot of good history. Mike Rivero is quite a brilliant guy, actually. He says that he's a cranky old man. I guess he is to a large extent. Really good person, though. And his wife is as well. And I talked about, when I called him on his show, you know, quite a while ago. Oh, there was a bird getting a minnow. And I was talking about how this is a war on Christianity, and she did not quite understand what I was getting at. And it was like the West. And of course it is, and I think this is directed by Soros and a lot of these globalists. And of course they don't like any religion. George Soros is not a Jew. A lot of people say, oh, he's another Jew, and you know, but George Soros is not a Jew. He said it himself. He does not believe in God at all, and a lot of Jews aren't so crazy about him either. So, but I don't know. Some people insist, oh, he's a Jew, and you know. And even being a Jew is not a crime, and it doesn't mean that you're bad. Like I just mentioned earlier, that it's these Zionist Jews, and and even the Iranians, they love the Jews, but they don't like this Zionist Jews. They think it's just like an ideology, and you may as well just call them Nazis, because Zionism is Nazism. and it's based on a lot of the similar things, and of course a lot of the Zionists will hate to say that, and a lot of bad things that they've done, and it's big cover-ups, big sex parties and things like that, and they call us the goy, that are not Zionists. They even hate the other Jews that are, they hate the Orthodox Jews even, but they have to tolerate them, they have to go along with them, and but that's another thing. But anyway, Chabo, here I'm going again off tangents. He was there to cover that election. If you guys remember, Kalin Georgescu, he won the presidential election, and Brussels ordered Romania to nullify the election because, that's democracy. If the candidate that you don't like doesn't win, I mean, how do I say this? Get myself tied up here. So the candidate that they don't like, who does not hate Russia, won, so they have to nullify the election. Democracy, democracy, So it's been like that in the United States for a long time, They decide on who gets to possibly become the president. I mean, this is how it appears, but they already know who they're going to make president already of the United States in advance. And so they're powerful people, and there's been so much put out, and I remember things in my life, things that shock you, and sometimes you just cannot forget. The things that shock you that are really terrible, your mind makes you forget them, like the child trafficking and sex trafficking and all of this terrible stuff. So you have to make that a point to try to remember these things. And I don't know, a lot of people don't like putting that out in their videos, a lot of truth tellers, because it makes people get depressed or something by watching your videos. And I understand that, but you got to realize, they have this philosophy of yin and yang in China, and a lot of times, that could help you. You can look at it in different ways, and you can be thankful that that you're not experiencing this and you're not seeing this, and because these things are so terrible, and they're definitely they've gone way too far in Ukraine. But because these things are so bad, a lot of people shy away from them, and that's one thing that prevents them from getting way too far out of hand. But in Ukraine, unfortunately, the big thing is to make a lot of money, and it's been going on for quite a long time. Ukraine has been a corrupt country for many decades, and I don't know, it might be 100 years, but it's at least back in the time of the Soviet Union, and everybody knew about that. Like I said, when I started getting to know people from like Belarus or Russia, and they were warning me, they said, that's a really corrupt place. You don't want to really go and live over in that place because of all of the corruption. And I mean, that's been put out by people that are apparently in favor of Ukraine, how very corrupt it is. It's terrible. It's really terrible. And you don't even know about the level of the corruption, child trafficking. And of course, they look the other way in the European Union. And it's like, do you really think that they really want a country like that in the European Union? And they even talk about, you have to get rid of a lot of the corruption before we're going to let you in the European Union. Well, good luck on that one. That has been there for that's been there for an entire generation. Do you think you're going to wipe that out? And the people that they're asking to wipe it out are the beneficiaries of the corruption. Do you think they're going to want to get rid of that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So you need somebody, probably, like I said, you need a really, what do you call it, a strongman politician. You need somebody like Lukashenko to go in there. And I tell you what, I know for a fact, even though it's never been said, I have no information to support what I'm saying, but I know, that Putin is saying if they ever got any sort of more, control over Ukraine in any possible way, like if the government collapses or whatever the deal is, I know that it has entered his mind that he said, well, we need like maybe Lukashenko to go in there, because Lukashenko knows how to get rid of the corruption. And that's one reason why he is so badly hated by a lot of people in the West. And I've mentioned one of the top think tank people of NATO. He is actually the guy sort of in charge of the think tank that is that runs the expansion of NATO. And what do you say? He's one of the chief planners. His name is Gunther Fehlinger. He is an economist from Austria. I've mentioned him a few times in a lot of my videos, and the country he hates the most is Belarus, and of course it's because of Lukashenko. And he put out a tweet once, and he also said that he really hates Serbia, and I guess it's because of Vučić. And it's incredible. Vučić is also apparently a very incredible guy. He's been able to stave off the overthrow of his government for quite some time. And he is one of the people now that they've threatened. The European Union said, Ursula von der Leyen came out, you know, she's a really evil witch. Some people call her a witch. You know, she's a really evil witch. She used to be in charge of the Department of Defense of Germany. And now, you know, in the second term, she is voted as the commissioner of the European Union. And of course, the number one qualification is mostly because she has a seething hatred of Russia. And of course, that is the number one thing. You don't even have to call it the European Union necessarily, because their biggest goal is a hatred of Russia, is hate Russia. And their economics, militarily, everything it's geared towards the hatred of Russia, and they want to take control of Russia. It's been put out by a lot of people that they want those resources. They're really angry, about Donald Trump now making that deal with getting the rare earth minerals, because they wanted that. Germany wanted the lithium. Germany wanted the nuclear power from the Zaporozhye power plant, which is the biggest nuclear power plant in all of Europe. And they closed down their power plants, so that maybe, if you get the nuclear waste, that's going to have Ukraine have that. And, green energy, the big green energy, global warming scam, all this stuff just keeps right on going. And, Trump, I had this impression, a lot of us did, that he was going to get rid of all of these scams, that's mostly designed to steal the money out of all the people's pockets, all the taxpayers of either the EU or the United States or everywhere. The United States has the global currency, so that means everybody on planet Earth has to pay money to the United States, whether they know it or not. And that's how that works when you have the global currency. And, Donald Trump has said, Russia, he's got to put, BRICS in line or everything, or he is going to go after them with a vengeance, BRICS, because he's insisting on the domination of the United States to control the masters of the universe. So, as I said, Donald Trump, there's some good things. He seems to be wanting to support the truth in the world, but he also wants, in his own words, he wants the world to kiss his ass. He wants everybody to kiss his ass. So that's that's what they call it. His kiss my ass policies. That's everybody, including all of the friends of the United States. Kiss my ass, everybody. Incredible. I'm not getting too far on my notes here. How long is this? Already half an hour. So I'm gonna have to stick around this area after I'm done doing this video. I'll make a nice walk, because when I go home, this video will take it. Like I said, it might take up to 12 hours to download this, and I might want to make another video afterwards. I didn't even get through all the news, and there'll be more news coming out. Some exciting days going on lately. So let's keep going, Dookie boy. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Chabo. Anyway, a lot of people coming out talking about Chabo for RT, the RT correspondent, the Irish guy. So I really like this guy. I wanted to actually meet him one day. It was kind of a goal. Super reporter. Very, very good. He comes right down to earth when he's talking to you, and got a really good sense of humor and everything. Anyway, if any of you can, send this video and make sure that Chabo gets it, because tremendous guy. I'm glad a lot of people are coming out in support of him. This Maria Zakharova as well. Okay. What else? Well, one thing I also wanted to add, remember, there's, I believe I saw that there's, Romania is sort of like a race, a little bit, militarily, with Poland. Poland said they want to become the major military power, take over for Germany and all that. So they're ordering huge amounts of weaponry from the United States. I think they ordered 200 HIMAR rockets. And it was a lot of time before Lukashenko got these tactical nuclear weapons, and now he's getting the Orishnik weapons and all that. Poland, obviously, one of their major goals was to attack Belarus, and they want, this has been going for a long time, they want at least the western part of Belarus. And another thing nobody talks about, I've mentioned in my videos, they offer free passports, and I believe it's at least in the Brest region, to all Belarusians that want Polish passports in the Brest region. They give you free passports. I know that because my wife comes from that region, and people have talked about it over there. So, and what their hope was is to get a lot of people with Polish passports, and then they're going to say, well, hey, those people want to be a part of Poland. They're Polish people. So I don't think it worked too well. And yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. I don't want to be talking so much. There's a lot. You can make a whole video about things going on with Poland, and what is it, the Kalinowski thing, and Poland has been training people to militarily attack Belarus. Like these bands of the platoons. A lot of these people got killed in Ukraine, so there's not so many of them that are Belarusian citizens that are against the government of Belarus, and Poland is training them and to attack, to militarily attack and maybe take over Belarus at some point in the future. Oh, but they're nice guys. Oh, Belarus wants to attack us. Oh, what is it called? That gap. Now I forgot the name of it. This little gap where it's a short geographical distance to Kaliningrad from Belarus, and Lukashenko, Russia has never shown any indication whatsoever that they want to go through, and establish a land connection between Belarus and Kaliningrad, even though the European Union has said many times they want to attack and take over Kaliningrad. So they want that. They want to take it over, and they want, of course, make the NATO lake, make the whole Baltic. They're moving and doing all sorts of things, building military bases around there, and trying to make sure that Russia cannot have any shipping through the Baltic Sea. So that's another thing. I've talked about that before. But anyway, U.S. has a 101st Airborne is stationed in Romania. So, and remember that one time there was a bombing going on, and it was somewhere like on the Ukraine part of the Donbass, and Russia bombed it, and somebody was making video recordings there, and it was a military meeting going on, and they showed lots of American soldiers, and I'm talking about NATO soldiers. I'm not talking about mercenaries. These were NATO U.S. soldiers with tattoos that said 101st Airborne, and they were in Ukraine, and they had the haircuts. They were young and everything. There's no way they were mercenaries. These people were too young to have gotten a lot of training in the military and then gotten out and then become a mercenary. These are American NATO troops over there, and they were filming themselves talking the English and all that sort of thing, and there was quite a few of them there. So it was, that was during the Biden days. I don't know if there's that many American over there. I don't know if America has officially gotten troops there like they did in the Biden times. And I saw even another video once, and it was American soldiers filming themselves in Ukraine saying, we are already here, and all that. When they were talking about sending troops to Ukraine, they were already there. Oh, and there's so many, there's other videos out. The United States had troops there. I think Scott Ritter had mentioned that. I think probably Douglas McGregor. U.S. had troops in Ukraine during this time. So need I say more? Okay, Medvedev, he came out, and it was a comment on Trump's tariffs on China. He mentioned that, of course, that, Trump's name is the Kiss My Ass. He says it's a ritual, the Kiss My Ass ritual, Trump. But he said he miscalculated on China. And like Peter Schiff said, the same thing. Donald Trump, China has far more cards than the United States does. And Trump keeps coming out and saying, oh, we're talking. China and the United States is talking. China comes out and said, we're not talking at all. And it's apparent, there's a lot of indications that the United States is trying to talk to China. Trump comes out in public and acts like, we're winning, China, maybe he didn't say kiss my ass, but he means kiss my ass stuff. And, but China's saying, no, it's not. Let me keep going on this stuff. But Peter Schiff said, Trump made a miscalculation. And China said, bowing down to a bully is like drinking poison to quench your thirst. So, what does it say? And Trump, I guess the other day, he came out and said, well, yeah, we're winning. But then he said, we're winning. We're making billions of dollars every day, or whatever he said. But American children are going to have to deal with $2 instead of 30. In other words, they're winning. But yet the American people are getting less money, and instead of having $30, you have to do with $2. But yet we're winning. Yeah. I don't know. Yes. Does that sound like the United States is winning? Anyway, China is actually also, suffering too. The biggest market in the world, I guess, was the United States. They're the ones that buy the most junk, the big box stores, Walmart, Amazon. Most of the products on Amazon are from China. I know that myself. When I was leaving over there, it's like everything I was buying was all from China. Some things are really good. Some things are not so good. But, I don't know if there was that much real junk that was coming from China on Amazon. I don't know. And I was in the country that I was in, it was like there was something from China. It was a can opener that doesn't open up any cans whatsoever. And it's like, it looks beautiful and all that. Then you get it and you try all different cans. It didn't open up any cans. And I was taking it back, and it was expensive. And the guy practically didn't want to take it back. It was really strange. It was really strange, like God was there. There was a police officer inside of the shop when I was showing it to the guy that owns the shop, and I said, this doesn't open up. And I even brought a can. I said, you try to open up a can with this can opener, and a policeman was there, and I was telling the guy, then it's an English-speaking country, and I said, it doesn't open up any cans, and the shopkeeper didn't want to take it back. Probably he knew that it didn't work, and he just, anyway. But anyway, the police officer said, what's the matter with you selling this sort of thing? So he had to take it back. It was incredible. I was just one time I remember, living in developing countries and all that. A lot of time, they go for the cheapest price. I like backpacks. I had some backpacks. I bought a few of them back then, and they didn't last very long at all. So this country, they were buying real big junk from China. Really incredible. Like I said, there's good stuff from China and there's bad stuff from China, and just that country, to get the lower prices, a lot of time they're just getting the junk. So anyway, yes, sanctions from hell, I mentioned that already. Okay, another thing, it's kind of shocking things, but it doesn't surprise any of you out there. In light of me being in Belarus, and I'm seeing a lot of things, what's going on here, I'm seeing them with my own eyes. The United States has they put out ads to recruit activists to go into protests, and they train you to protest like against the government of Belarus and all that, and they pay you money and they give you lots of things. You get access, to order some Levi's and to watch American movies and sit down and have, it's not necessarily here. I know that it was in Kazakhstan. They have these places, and you join, to be, they hate Belarus, they hate Russia, they hate Kazakhstan, even, in Kazakhstan, hate Kazakhstan clubs or something like that. But mostly, of course, it's the Hate Russia Club. It's doing everything to try to, to collapse Russia, the strategic defeat of Russia. Absolutely incredible. This is going on for centuries, as I say. But anyway, they try to recruit, and now there's a big thing right now, and it's U.S. is trying to recruit Chinese spies, a lot of spies. Obviously, they want to recruit Belarusian spies and all that too, but this government is very harsh, on people in even Belarus that use treason against their own country. And oftentimes, what the United States demands, as you see in a lot of countries, and it's just like what Israel does. Israel has a lot of spies. I don't really know how they do it in Palestine, and maybe in Lebanon and all. The Mossad is really excellent in recruiting and getting spies and things like that. And there's, like I said, there's that book By Way of Deception. If you find that, and it was written by a Mossad agent, and of course he was on the run, and I don't know if they ever got him and killed him and things like that. There's other things you can find about the spy things. There was one other book I read called Every Spy a Prince, but it's actually somebody who loves Israel, and they love the fact that they have manipulated different countries and Christians and Muslims to kill each other. And it's like, I was thinking the guy's making a confession when I was reading the book. And towards the end, the guy said he's really proud of that. He's really proud that they can get, people that don't like Israel's domination over the United States, over the world, that they can actually get these people to kill each other, and is really happy. It's incredible. Somebody, sent me this, I think it was Uta out there from Germany, and it's very, I don't know why I didn't think about it myself, but it was, she calls Netanyahu Satanyahoo, which is very, very true. And this guy, I don't know, I've never seen really, and even if you look at Adolf Hitler, and everybody's made Adolf Hitler out to be some big satanic guy, and I'm not saying he's a good guy at all, but I think Adolf Hitler is a child, is a Boy Scout, is a Girl Scout compared to Netanyahu. Netanyahu, this guy, they made up a lot of exaggerations about, even if Adolf Hitler is not a great guy, but a lot of that stuff has been exaggerated to make him look far, far worse than he is. As mentioned yesterday, the bad people in history are never as bad as they say they are, and the good people are never as good as they say they are. And you have somebody operating today, this Netanyahu, he's far beyond anything that Adolf Hitler was ever capable of doing. I mean, how can you really, and everybody knows this, and we're trying to, pay no attention to that man. Don't look over here, look over there, don't look there, look over here. That this guy, and he is nothing against the massacre of tens of thousands of people. And then you have these Houthi, these people that have these high morals. These are the poorest country in the Middle East. And these people, I don't really know, and if that's an ideology, and Donald Trump is out to massacre those people, not necessarily really massacre those people, but he wants to defeat it because the Houthis have such high moral standards, and a lot of there's even reporters and people that have braved to go over there, Jackson Hinkle, Pepe Escobar, and they went to the Houthis, and they were greeted and shown a warm welcome. And we're told not to really pay attention. These are terrorists, and it's I don't know. And the Houthis, maybe the people that have died at these terrible terrorists' hands is maybe in the past 6 months 5 people. And Donald Trump, who's not a terrorist, I don't know how many hundreds of Houthis has he killed, and and as well as these African migrants, and how many tens of thousands has Netanyahu. But these are the good guys. These are the good guys. They just kill tens of thousands. Some people say that if you kill certain few people or whatever like that, you get the death penalty and you go down to be as a bloodthirsty killer. But if you kill tens of thousands of people, then you go down as a hero, and they erect statues in your name. What a terrible, terrible world, And I'm sorry I have to put out this stuff to you guys, and talking about this child trafficking and organ trafficking, hastening people's deaths so that you can get their organs, and really terrible crap in the world. But anyhow, but anyway, the United States, I guess, is trying to get these Chinese people, and China, obviously, I mean, a lot of these countries, Belarus and all that, they are really under attack. The United States has vastly more money, and I'm not saying necessarily Donald Trump. I'm still mixed on Donald Trump, but absolutely Joe Biden. These are evil people, and they don't really care about, they don't even care about Americans dying, even if they're American presidents and things like that. Oh, any sacrifice is so great as long as it's not their sacrifice, their friends, their family, but they'll watch the rest of us all die. And they don't want us to be noticing this sort of thing. Whatever. But the Chinese, I guess back in 2010, they had a lot of these, the Chinese that were spies for the CIA and for other countries, they had rounded a lot of them up. They found out, through different spy rings and things like that. They rounded these people up, and they executed these Chinese that were traitors to their country. And I think by traitors, they mean a lot of this information that they're selling off to the CIA could very well end up being killing lots of Chinese people at all. And it's not just, by just coming right out and killing them, bloodthirsty right in front of your face, Netanyahu-like, but maybe like even through sanctions. And you see what's going on in Palestine. I see these terrible films you know, they're showing these children that are dying. They're dying in Gaza, dying of malnutrition, and a lot of them are contracting diseases that they're not even identified. They're new diseases, you know. And there was a 12-year-old girl, and she was crying. The guy was trying to say, "Oh, stop crying," and all that. And I don't know if they possibly can't even save her. She's 12 years old, and she looks like she's about the size of a 7-year-old, and very, very skinny. And she's got her, and they had a picture of her, part of a picture of her before, a very, very beautiful young girl, you know, and she's not that much younger in that picture than what it is now. And I guess it's because of maybe the last 2 years, and she has been really suffering badly, and she's losing her hair, and she said that she just wants her hair back, and she wants to live, and all of this. And I don't think there's any way that they can save her, and she's dying, and they're telling her not to cry, and they can't even identify some of these diseases. She's probably been forced to drink sewage water, things like that, and it's really terrible. And you see this stuff going on in Gaza, and they're not trying to even show you this stuff in the West, but it's like, wow, 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 wow. And this cruelty and this stuff going on in the world. You know, I'm not making these videos, you know, and my point is not to make you all depressed, you know, and to lose viewers, because, you know, you don't want to have your day being depressed, even if I'm showing you some beautiful places like in Belarus. And we all have to be thankful, you know, that we're not going through all this stuff. And you just think about this, these families and these parents watching their children die, and they're dying as well. A lot of people, you show these people chasing down these trucks in Gaza and Israel, and some of these soldiers, it's like what I was telling you yesterday about what they were doing in Belarus in World War II. And how do you get humanity to be, you know, smiling and happy and be joyous while they're killing other people? You know, it's like, what? I don't know. It's like animals. Animals, they might kill for food, or they might kill for protection, things like that. But we humans, it's like we're worse than the animals. We're killing for the joy of killing and wiping out our own people. You know, I don't know. I'm just shocked, and that's one reason why I don't know. Close to tears here. You know, watching us kill each other, you know, it's just, anyway. Okay. Anyway, what do I say? Have a good day. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.